Want to update your older model car from this to this? Adding built-in Bluetooth, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and a backup camera? I'm going to show you how to do it and give this head unit a walkthrough and review on this 2004 BMW 325 E46. Let's go. Eonon sent me this car entertainment console to review and install. As always, I'll give an honest review, show the detailed install step by step, and what to look out for. I'll go over everything, including the things to look out for to make sure the install goes smooth. It's a must-see. Let's open up the box and see what's inside. It's nice they package this with plastic on the outside to protect it from water. Eonon has several models to fit your specific model and year car. But again, this is going on my 2004 BMW 325i. Some specs if you want to geek out, but I'll put these in the description. There's the head unit. Obviously, I have to check this out first. Okay, virtual buttons on the left-hand side. I'll go over what these do later. Connectors on the back, as expected. I foresee in this box a bunch of cables, and I was right. It's spelled out good with these cable connections, but one thing these kits don't do is give information about the installation. I guess that's what I'm for. The backup camera. I'm going to get into this. By the way, every YouTuber that does a video on these mentions the backup camera, but none show the installation or it even working. If I'm wrong, you let me know in the comments. The reason is because it's the hardest part of the install. But don't worry, I got you. I'm going to make it easier for you, and I will show it working. That's how I roll. So, just a reminder in the upper left-hand corner. All these cables might look intimidating, but don't worry, it's really not that bad. Look at that, an extra fuse and audio adapter. I won't need this. Let's turn this over and look at the connections. All the connectors are different, so it's easy enough, whatever fits belongs. You can also follow the directions to understand which connectors do what. Also, the connectors will only go in one way. For wired Apple CarPlay, here is this cable, and there are two other USB cables you can connect to. All connectors that connect to the unit have a locking tab at the bottom to lock them in place. And the last one is for the backup camera. Locking tab face down, snaps in. This right here is the cable for the antenna. Again, obvious where it goes. This right here is for power, and right there is the fuse, which the kit came with an extra one, just in case. Just press down to make sure the connections are good. There is one more connection, and that's the GPS. The directions say its location of number 8, which is in the lower right. However, there was no connections there. The GPS connector was covered by this red plastic cover in a different location on the opposite side. Just a good thing to know, so you're not searching for it too long. This is a screw-on F-type cable. Time to use the trim tool and start dismantling. Loosen this up and pop straight out. Here's a look at the orange tabs. At this point, the center trim comes out pretty easily. There's a couple Phillips screws holding the radio in, one on each side. That's it, just 2 screws, and the old head unit slides right out. This connector is the antenna. And now the big wire harness. This just doesn't pull out. There's a locking mechanism. The trick to get this off is to pop this up and the connector will unlock and pull out. Here's the connector and how it works. Lock and up is unlock. Now the bottom unit is the AC and heater. This unit pops right out. It's in here pretty tight. With this, we're going to disconnect all 4 connector wires and we're going to relocate it to the bottom storage area. All the connectors make a different connection. This one has a pinch point and this one has a simple unlocking lever. Now pull up on the connectors, don't pull on the wires. This small white one, you pinch the sides and it pops out. And this last one was tight and hard to grip on the harness, but a needle nose pliers did the job. It's free. At this point, the storage unit below just pops out. Simply move the AC wires to the old storage opening. For the larger unit to fit in, we need to take out the 4 screws. So this brace for the old radio and AC comes out. This is tucked in a bit under the AC vent. So you have to work this out from underneath to break it free. And there it is. The good news is I didn't break anything yet. Now take the AC and make the connections. You can't mess this up because the connectors go in one way. Don't forget the locking lever for this one. And the other 2 just slide right in once they're positioned right. They should slide in easy. When the wires are cleared away from the rear AC control panel, it slides in perfect fit. Just a quick little test to make sure everything is connected. Looks good. Now it's time to connect the head unit. Yes, still a nest of wires, but seriously, don't worry. The connections are self-explanatory. You can connect these in any order, but first we're going to connect the large connector. There are 2 of these for different connector types. We'll just connect one. If you look at the pin type and layout, it's easy to figure out which one will be for your car. Plus, the wrong one won't fit. We'll put this in and push the locking clip down. Now the antenna. And plug the antenna into the existing antenna. The last 2 items, the microphone for when you make phone calls. This is a simple mini DIN connector that goes to one of the octopus cables. You can't miss it. It says mic, and it's the only connector of its type. And last but not least, the backup camera. There are going to be 2 connections to the radio for the backup camera. This yellow RCA that carries the video feed to the unit, and this red wire that is power for the camera. For the yellow RCA, the other end from the radio is labeled backup camera input. You can't miss it. The camera power wire has a few ways to connect depending on your car's head unit and the model of your car. This is the way for this BMW E46. I'm going to expose more of the red wire. Now the red wire connects to the unit's red wire that is labeled camera power. Love this wire stripper. If you want the same one, I'll leave a link in the description. Connect these two wires and some electrical tape. You should be good. Time for a test. When you put the car in reverse, this turns the camera on and switches the screen automatically. And the connections are good, and the camera is working. I did notice the camera is HD 720p resolution, so decent quality. So I had to find the best way to run the microphone and the GPS wire so it's unseen, and the microphone is closest to the driver's voice. Also, there are two USB cables that are going to be placed out of the way in the glove compartment for charging and connecting the phone. We're taking the glove compartment off. There are some screws on the bottom. 2 on the top. Right there. And 2 screws tucked away on the sides where the glove compartment bands are. The entire compartment is disconnected. There are 2 wires for the lights. Pinch this one and pull.
Okay, that's one.
The wires are tucked away in a channel. Good to remember when you're putting this back together. Now we can take the glove compartment out. Now I'll fish the wires through, which are going to be the microphone, the GPS, and 3 USB cables that will be in the glove compartment, and the long wire for the backup camera. Secure the head unit in, and the top of the radio needs to go behind the air vents. The trick here is the wood trim. It doesn't fit with the radio screw down, and the screws are in back of the trim. So you have to put the trim in at an angle, then tighten the screws behind the trim. So loosen the screws as much as possible without them coming out, and slip the trim in behind the radio at an angle. Then lift the trim up like this and tighten the screws. Once screwed down, that long trim guide wouldn't align with its hole, so we shortened it. Yeah, nobody on YouTube tells you about this part either. And after this, the trim snaps right back on. Again, a quick little test. Oh man, this is a good song. And the rear view camera is also working. Now it's time to run the microphone somewhere. I decided to run it to the middle overhead. I figure this would be the best position for both the driver and passenger to speak on the phone through the Bluetooth. To run the microphone wire in stealth mode, I took off one of the A-pillars. There's a strip that snaps right off and exposes the screws. Be aware, these are torque screws. They're not the Phillips or flathead. There are 3 screws and the part comes off easily. This is where the microphone's going. This piece snaps off, and let's see what we're working with. There's plenty of room, but I have to take out the headliner light, which just snaps out. There's a screw right here to keep the liner tight. Also, the sun visor needs to come out because they're also keeping the headliner tight. I just want to slip the wire underneath. These also come out easily. Right side with 2 screws, a wire for the visor mirror light. This one has 2 small covers that are covering 2 screws. That's all I need to loosen to get the wire underneath. I'm going to start from the top because any loose wires I can tuck away in the glove compartment. I'll just stick the microphone out like this so there's no obstructions. It's hardly noticeable. If you don't like it, you can place it behind the roof panel. I put the wires down the A-pillar and tucked it nicely there, and ran it down to the side dash. There is a small gap the wire fits through, so I put the A-pillar back on. And by the way, I ran the wire for the GPS in the same spot and placed the GPS on top of the dash, which should allow it to have a good signal. The GPS has double-sided tape, so now we have to figure out the best way to run the wires from the camera. Take the license plate off to get a better look where to run the wires. I see an opening behind these plate lights. Time to take off the black strip and the lights. There are basically 4 screws. For this, we need the torque bit. Now that that's off, there's a nice entry point right here to feed the wires through. The license plate was pinching the wire. A little modification, now it fits, and a little bit more stealth. Running the wire inside the cabin, you can mostly tuck it away without taking anything off. Taking these floor panels off is a pain, not to mention you could break something. Move the seat around to get the best access. Now I'm already headed towards the back seat. Keep tucking until you get to the back seat. Now the only way to go further is to take out the back seat. The bottom part snaps right off, and the back rest is more difficult. The corner snaps off, but the entire seat was too tight. I fed the wires through, and now this trim needs to come off. First, the battery cover tray is coming out. Now these panels, the tabs screw off. I'm not going to take the whole thing apart. I just need access to the back and this rubber cable grommet. I can run the wire from right here from the existing wire and follow it to the grommet. I use this wire tool and will tape the wire up. Here you go, and ready to pull it through. Now, click the back seat back on. Now, in my opinion, don't fish the cable through this rubber grommet. The install would look better, but the connectors don't fit, and you'll risk forcing the wire through and breaking the cable. So what I'm going to do is carefully, not pull too hard, fish the wire and connectors from the outside where there's good clearance. There we go, came through pretty easy. I'm going to start with the back and get the camera connected. Time to take the trim off. These tabs you can use a trim tool or a flathead screwdriver. They come out relatively easy, but you want to get in between these 2 tabs and the top will slide up and release. There's tabs all around the panel. Now we're going to feed from this hole to this hole. It looks tight, but it's not that bad. By the way, feel free to use a hanger to help you feed the wire through. Grab the other end, and now we'll tape up the wire. I just did one of the connectors because both wouldn't go through at the same time. There you go, pretty easy. Make sure there's enough slack for the trunk to open and close and not put tension on the wire. Now that everything is fished through, connect the camera. Just added this steering wheel cover. Looks good, no? A quick test. Everything works. Another thing to be aware of is you need to connect the camera in the correct orientation or the video will be upside down. I didn't see any adjustments on the radio to correct this, but this shouldn't be a big issue. Just make sure you install the camera right side up. I sliced the rubber grommet so the wire wouldn't get pinched and created a small opening with the rubber. I cleaned up the rubber grommet and the wire with electrical tape. At this point, you can be creative how you want to clean this up. Maybe a boot around the boot, but electrical tape was the easiest, and I don't think it looks bad. Now put everything back together, install the glove box, and hid the wires behind it except for the USBs that you'll want to have access to. The camera has two-sided sticker that you can use and also screw it down. Made some guide holes and used the two screws to secure it. Now that the install is finished, let's check out the interface and the features. This is running Android operating system, so you can see the typical Android navigation here in the upper right. I'll just press home and go to the main screen. By the way, I'll leave a link in the description where to get that Eonon head unit. On the frame of the screen, we have some virtual buttons, on, off, and mute. Underneath that is home and then back and then volume control. Here you can open up a video player, which I'll do a quick test. That circle takes you to the apps. Good responsiveness with the interface. There are a few pre-installed apps. If I go back, we have Bluetooth for phone calls. Connecting my Android phone through Bluetooth was quick and easy. And when I get into the car, it automatically connects fast without me having to do anything. Then we have the settings button, which you can connect to Wi-Fi, and I already did this to my house, and you can do a hotspot tether. Obviously, if you want to download more apps and use a streaming service, you need the connection. Bluetooth music will connect to your phone. I'll open up Pandora, select Bluetooth music, and it's connected and plays the sound through your car speakers. Control the volume, pause, and play. There's a function where you can adjust the car's audio through the built-in DSP software equalizer. Check out the strength of your GPS signal. I tried to open up Netflix a few times and it wouldn't connect. Maybe it requires more tinkering. Another item I had an issue with is my phone never connected to Android Auto. I tried it with 2 different phones without success. The phone knows the head unit's there, but it just keeps looking and doesn't connect. I signed into the Play Store to download an app. I wasn't sure if there was an Android Auto app I needed to install, but there's not. Again, maybe requires more tinkering. I decided to download Waze, which I like to use this navigation app. The typical stuff from Google wanting a credit card. While that's downloading, I went to mess with the radio from the main screen, search for stations. I'm in the garage, so not the best reception, but this worked well when I was driving around. A bigger view of the radio and save stations. You can save a lot. I did notice the steering wheel controls work with the unit, so that's nice. You don't lose any control. Also, if any of the doors are open, it lets you know. My old stereo didn't do that. The home desktop screen, you can place an app on the home screen to play. Waze did install, but I'll configure this later. One of the things I also wasn't able to get to work was the Z-Link phone mirroring. I tried connecting the phone through USB cable. It wanted me to scan an image on the screen and download an APK file. The security on my phone didn't allow it. I tried another phone that did allow me, and it still didn't work. So the two issues I ran into was the seamless integration for mirroring and Android Auto. You can see Android Auto just keeps looking, it never connects. I also tried with a different USB cable, but no luck. Okay, I'm moving on. When I updated the YouTube app, this ran good. We'll let that load. You can see you can close out apps just like on your phone by flicking up. You can adjust the main screen's different themes and layouts. Just a ton of features and options. There's also a quick access bar that shows up on every screen that you can load your favorites onto. Back to YouTube, it's up and running. This is a channel I frequently watch, and you should too. Okay, enough of that guy.
It looks a little plain vanilla, but come on.
If you turn the lights on, the sidebar lights up. You can even change these colors. The unit supports a lot of video and image formats. I loaded a couple MPEG files on the USB to test the playback. I went into File Explorer and Video, and there they were.
Shoffley, Hovland, Gim, all 2 under par. Sagala, through second.
Oh, he made it.
So he put Gala.
I was impressed with the video quality. Very nice. All in all, much better than the old head unit. Looks nicer with tons of features. Also, I can't forget the backup camera. This is a must. The quality is very good in the day and the night. One last thing before I go. Every time I use this, I discover another feature, like this split screen option. Obviously, with downloading more and more apps, you have more and more features. I've taken enough of your time. I hope this video helped, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe.